You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm. We have the world's great military people. I will tell you that. We have great people. Thank you all for coming. You'll find out.
Did you go for a coup? Did you go for a coup? I don't remember. I don't know. I'll tell you, we caught him cold. It's about time that something happens, okay? It's about time that something happens. It's enough. We got plenty of information on these crooks, bunch of crooks. Thing like that's never happened in the history of our country, and it's about time that something happens.
The national security operations generally have one purpose, and that is to make sure that the American people are safe and that I'm making good decisions, and I'm the final user of all the intelligence that they gather. But they're involved in a whole wide range of issues, and we give them policy direction, but what we've seen over the last several years is their capacities continue to develop and expand, and that's why I'm initiating now a review to make sure that what they're able to do doesn't necessarily mean what they should be doing.
NSA Director Mike Rogers finds himself in a precarious position tonight. His current boss may be trying to get rid of him, but he's already interviewed with the man who could be his next boss. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge tells us what's going on.
NSA Director Admiral Mike Rogers took the helm of the secretive surveillance agency and U.S. Cyber Command in April 2014. Not to be confused with former Congressman Republican Mike Rogers, who recently left Trump's transition team, the NSA Director avoided reporters Thursday at Trump Tower, where he met with the president-elect to reportedly discuss leading the 16 intelligence agencies. Less than 48 hours later, anonymous sources told the Washington Post that Rogers' boss, the current Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, and Defense Secretary Ash Carter had told the White House they wanted Rogers out. Carter reportedly had concerns about Rogers' NSA performance. Clapper supported a new structure that would divide the NSA and U.S. Cyber Command, with Rogers no longer in charge. National security experts said the public hearing of these disagreements is highly unusual.
The timing's odd because obviously he visited with President-elect Trump, who has every right to interview anyone he wants for any senior position. So I think it's unprecedented, and it's really unfortunate.
Republican Senator John McCain, who leads the Armed Services Committee, said, quote, "Any suggestion that Admiral Rogers should be fired is certainly unwarranted. He has my full confidence, and I hope he will have further opportunities to serve our country." The Republican chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Devin Nunes, went further, sending a letter to Clapper and Carter demanding their immediate testimony to answer questions about the timing of the Post story. Nunes spoke to Fox by phone.
There are people with vested interests who are trying to kill Admiral Rogers' chances. It's quite clear to me that's the case, but it's really petty and really sad that they'd stoop to this level to attack a military officer.
At a security conference in Canada, Rogers responded.
I am just not going to go down this road. I'm not going to comment on anything that's in the media. I'm accountable for my actions. I certainly understand that.
In October, NSA contractor Harold Martin III was charged with stealing government secrets. Rogers is credited with helping uncover that compromise, the second major breach of classified information on his watch. By contrast, when Edward Snowden leaked thousands of documents in 2013, Rogers' predecessor, General Keith Alexander, kept his job dug.
Thank you, Catherine Herridge.
To the United States to announce in advance the dates we intend to begin or end military options. We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. Conditions on the ground, not arbitrary timetables, will guide our strategy from now on. America's enemies must never know our plans or believe they can wait us out. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will.
The advantage in life, in business, and in wartime goes to the competitor that does not flinch and does not broadcast his game plan.
So when I listened to Joe talking about a transition, there's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady. They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that because we caught you in a sense. And President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it, too. So don't tell me about a free transition.
Mike has been a JSOC J2. He has been a combatant commander J2. He has been forward on the ground in Afghanistan for years in multiple positions. He has come back and done senior jobs at the DNI organization, as you heard, and the Joint Staff J2, and as the director of an agency. Again, we were both COCOM J2s. We were both JCS J2s. We both ended up becoming agency heads. And every time in every one of those positions, I only speak for me, I was always glad to think to myself, I'm getting to do this with Mike Flynn. And in fact, I want to very publicly thank Mike Flynn, because I wouldn't be where I am today if he hadn't pushed to help me along in my career. I found myself, as we all do at points in our career, I'm the PACOM J2. I'm loving life in Honolulu. And General McChrystal gets the call to go to Afghanistan, and the first thing he says is, Flynn, you're leaving that cush job as the JCS J2 and you're going with me. So now the challenge is, so they need a new JCS J2. And Flynn calls me in Honolulu and says, hey, Rogers, you need to go do this. And I'm going, we're in 2 ground wars. I'm a Navy guy, and I'm not really even an intel officer in the Navy. I'm a cryptologist. And Mike says, no, you're the guy who needs to go do this. And then he goes to Admiral Mullen, the then chairman, and he says, hey, Rogers is the guy you ought to hire. There is no doubt in my mind that I got that job because of Mike Flynn, because of the example that he set, because of the strategic thought, and because he is always about the men and women around him. It is never about him. It is always about the men and women that he partners with, that he serves with, that he leads. That is an incredibly powerful idea.
We have an army of digital soldiers. What we are now, what we call, I call them, because this was an insurgency, folks. This was run like an insurgency. This was irregular warfare at its finest in politics. And that story will continue to be told here. But we have what we call citizen journalists. Okay? Because the journalists that we have in our media did a disservice to themselves, actually more than they did to this country. They did a disservice to themselves because they displayed an arrogance that is unprecedented. And so the American people decided to take over the idea of information. They took over the idea of information, and they did it through social media.
As the world watches and listens in horror, the peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent and bloody end.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wolves hiding nearby, whispering do or die around me. You say your last good night while I get
There is another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy.
The target of psychological warfare is against the enemy's mind.
It is words and ideas.
The ammunition used by Psy-War.
Its mission is to influence the thoughts of the enemy soldier, and at the same time
is expected and encouraged to study foreign languages and the social sciences such as history, economics, and sociology. He must have a broad and sympathetic understanding of all phases of human experience.
gripping at my skin, the walls of night close in.
But the use of this force as an integral part of combat has now taken on new form.
As I wait to say my last goodbye.
These are the Psy-War soldiers.
I believe in our country, and that's why it's interesting that this commercial came up, essentially, this recruiting commercial came up. They are trying to recruit in this new world. You know, psychological operations have been around a long time. They've always been trying to recruit, and they get really talented people. They get very talented people, very creative, very sort of deep thinkers, some people that would you'd not necessarily say, oh yeah, this is a perfect soldier for the Army, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a little bit, they're really talented ones are the ones that you want to have that kind of creativity. So that's the type of people that you're trying to get from a military perspective. But in the strategic sense of what is happening to us right now in the United States, and it ties directly into this global reset that is occurring, that is led by the World Economic Forum. It has components in the World Health Organization, in the United Nations, in the World Bank, in the International Monetary Fund, etc. That there are these distractions and these methods that they are using, and in many cases, and in fact in most cases, they're being much more public about what it is that they are trying to achieve.
Wolves hiding nearby, whispering.
How I know it's pandering, it's when you go and try to describe what the machines are, like the ghost in the machine, and you're talking about actual machines. If you understand this video, right, it's put up by the 4th PSYOP group. the fourth PSYOP group, their thing is psychological warfare. It's propaganda. It's narrative warfare. It's information warfare. That's what the ghosts in the machines are. They're the masters of influence. That's what they say on their damn website. They are influencing the narrative war, and that's how you know that it's a good thing, because who is winning the freaking narrative war right now? We are, and it's in a major freaking way, a major way. And so to come out and doom over the ghost in the machine and make it read like that, it's just weird. So to me, it shows it was either an intentional dooming, or it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what's really going on. And either way, it's dangerous either way.
Guys, right now at this point, I think the main name that you say through all of this, and we can talk about Watkins and all these other individuals, is Mike Flynn. And I actually think Mike Flynn is an enemy to this country. If I had to put it, what happened on January 6th, it was Flynn's foreign interference strategy that influenced Eastman's strategy to overturn the election.
He's an obscure figure who got famous through this whole scandal when he wrote the notorious Eastman memo. He laid out how the attack on the Capitol that day could work.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
And if you're already predisposed to believe in things that are conspiracy-laden, like Flynn has been for some time, right, and you're a retired three-star general, and you have other individuals that are willing to play along in this grift or in this thing that you have with QAnon that's very religious, that's power-based, that's money-based. I mean, how easy is it as a three-star general that all of a sudden you're sort of leading the effort to really participate in overturning the election of the United States of America?
Given everything that you know about Mike Flynn since January 6th, what would he be doing right now?
Well, I mean, he was an intelligence guy, so he'd be preparing the battlefield, right, doing his intelligence work. He'd be marshaling his forces. So that means he's going to have to be traveling around and making sure he identifies the individuals on his team, so he better have a tour.
Rallying the troops.
Got to rally the troops, and you got to make sure you have support.
In researching this interview, I see that people say that you are a supporter of QAnon. What is that? It's an online conspiracy. Is that the Blue Anon thing? No, QAnon. What do you think it is? I don't know. I see a lot of people supporting it. Some of the stuff they believe in. Do you support it or not? Do I support what? QAnon. What is it? The online movement. And what does it do? What does it stand for? I don't know. I've read that you support it. Where'd you read that? In True, what's the name of your outfit? True what? The Tulsa World. Tulsa World. So did you write about it? Well, I'm asking you if you support it. I mean, I'd have to know what it is.
Hello, Flynn. How you doing?
Great. How's life?
Pretty good. How are you doing? Did you believe that QAnon was real?
You mean Blue Anon?
No.
What's so funny about that?
No, QAnon. No, because there was
that?
just the HBO doc, and it said that Ron Watkins is
What's your
QAnon.
name?
Do you think Ron Watkins is QAnon?
Well, seriously, why did you laugh at that?
Do you believe that QAnon was an actual military personnel?
Why do you laugh at what I just said?
I'm laughing because it's funny, because it's so fucking stupid. Because Q is just a dumb thing. It's funny.
Theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind?
Well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, you know, if I can help save the world from problems, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one.
We have the House of Representatives right now is totally, completely broken, and they're totally owned by the corporate lobbyists, and frankly by the globalists who own many of these people because they've been compromised by on some of these what they call Codell trips overseas, where these members of both the House and the Senate get compromised by sleeping with children. And they compromise. And these are real things. These are very real things. Trees and such around the world, and they see the depravity and the evil that does exist on this planet, particularly evil against children.
Right.
And that's another maybe another discussion for another time with you to talk about how can we help children on the planet, because children need our help.
Billionaire businessman Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in New York Saturday on federal charges related to sex trafficking.
And they fearmonger about non-existent child sex trafficking rings.
There's an awful lot of this was going on in the United States, and I wasn't a party to it, and I knew nothing about it.
What's the global cabal really? Oh, it's about pedophilia.
Nygaard recruited and lured often impoverished children.
And he's revealing that the world is run by a giant pedophile ring.
She claimed that he was heavily involved in international child trafficking.
Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing.
With a friend of mine and a very brave person, somebody that got it very early and went through hell, and he handled it like the brave man he is, General Michael Flynn. Where's Michael? Where is Michael? Thank you, Michael. Brave guy, great guy. You stay in good health, Michael. Get ready, okay? It's not long. Year and a half, Michael. Just stay healthy.
Taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them.
To try to influence the election for Donald Trump. 17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed to influence our election.
There's ample evidence that was known long before the election, and even in most cases long before October.
Other experts are now saying that the Russians are releasing these emails for the purpose of actually helping Donald Trump.
But there's no question any longer. The Russians actively interfered in our election to help Donald Trump. There is no hoax.
I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy in plain sight.
A lot of things have an impact on the election. This certainly was one of them.
It was ordered by Vladimir Putin. He sought to help Donald Trump and to take down Hillary Clinton.
New documents released by the Justice Department are giving us more information about the infamous Steele dossier. The document was compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele and alleged that the Trump campaign was coordinating with Russia.
Have you seen any evidence that this dirt, these emails, were ever given to the Trump campaign?
Not so far.
Candidate Trump was not the subject of that investigation. We didn't know whether we had anything.
Special counsel Robert Mueller has been appointed to investigate whether the Trump campaign conspired with Russian operatives.
We found insufficient evidence of the president's culpability.
Igor Danchenko is accused of lying to the FBI, and he's facing felony charges.
CBS News confirms the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign helped pay for controversial research into President Trump's ties to Russia.
The DNC and Clinton sources have denied any knowledge of any connection to Fusion GPS.
A giant and very dangerous hoax. That's how Donald Trump described the Russia collusion probe after special counsel John Durham released his final report this week.
Who put this thing in motion? Like the Steele dossier. He's like, I figured out who paid for it. And I was like, Hillary Clinton. And he goes, if you're going to start drinking at this early in the morning, get out of my office.
Trump said that Obama spied on his campaign.
That's why it's called the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. Surveillance is spying.
And unfortunately, certain leadership corrupted those enterprises. And this is what Eisenhower warned us about. Basically, if you allow it to degrade over decades, then what you get is now the deep state. They know how to hold power and hold money.
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
Maybe he is a Russian asset. I don't know. But whatever we find, we put out.
When that big story came out, I got death threats.
So the Steele dossier was the basis of the whole basis of FISA. And then I was like, wait a second, you use the media?
The FBI said the exact same thing to me. We checked it out. It isn't true.
Call it the wrap-up smear. It's a tactic.
He was the only president in modern history to not start a new war.
Questions, and let me just remind you to go to the microphone so everyone can hear you. Yes.
First, I want to thank the panel for allowing us all to sit in on this very interesting podcast conversation. I have a question for Professor Weissman. Democrats in Congress, specifically John Conyers, admonished your predecessor at the FBI. John Conyers said she broke the law with the national security letters, violating the Fourth Amendment. Can you tell us, did the members of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence know of your secret 25-year relationship with the intelligence asset Felix Sater when he testified in 2017?
So I don't know Felix Sater. So,
really? You signed an agreement with him in 1998 and another one in 2017. It was released in 2019 by The Intercept. Why are you lying to these NYU students, Professor Weissman?
Okay, well, I don't know Felix
You
Sater.
personally recommended to Robert Mueller. You said in your book.
Sir, he's answered your question.
You said he lied. He said he doesn't know Felix Sater. Read the book
He's
that
answered
this
your
man
question,
wrote.
so I'm going to ask you
He
to sit
said
down.
that he told Robert Mueller to bring in Felix Sater. Felix Sater is the Russian developer of Trump Tower Moscow. I think you planted an intelligence asset to testify against the rightly elected 45th president of the United States. You, sir, are a fraud. You should be in jail, Andrew Weissman.
Okay, next question.
I don't want to say, but you'd be surprised.
Who is Q? You'll never know, folks. I'm not sure. Or maybe I know and I just can't tell you. Who do you guys think it is, out of curiosity? No. Salty cracker for press secretary? Q is Trump? I don't know.
Have you guys been following 4chan, Q, any of that stuff? Anybody? I'm going to watch for your comments here. Okay, so we posted an article just a few days ago about who is Q. We posted that on American Truth Seekers. There has been a lot of chatter. I don't know how much you guys know about Q. It's an anonymous person. All right, so Q is a patriot. We know that for sure, but we do not know who Q is, okay? So now the question is, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to tell you I don't know who Q is, but I'm just going to tell you about it because I think it's something worth listening to and paying attention to. Okay, and the reason why is because many of the things that he has given clues about and talked about on 4chan and other forums have really proven to be true. Okay, so there's some really interesting things about this person, Q.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book. Or the manifesto.
But the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book. And not just that. On day one, roll out All of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in government gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it, of doing it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key. On how the ICA was originally constructed. We put 10,000 man-hours against John Brennan's team that did it. And we found out why they came up with their bogus conclusion. But we couldn't sell it to the world because we couldn't talk about it, and the government gangsters came in and buried it. All of these things, there needs to be a continuing central power, whether it's the White House or offsite, that says every request that comes in, just right out the door, as long as it's not a major threat to national security.
I never believed that the CIA killed Kennedy.
No. You're talking to a guy that's read the entire JFK file.
You've seen all the secret stuff?
I've seen all of that, and I've seen the 7 pages of the 9/11 report. I've seen it all.
You don't say that to people that you can't tell what you saw.
And they're attacking me, really, because I'm fighting for you, and that's okay. That's a good reason, because we really have to bypass the media because it's so one-sided and unfair in order to get straight to the American people. That's what we're doing. So that's what we're doing, and it seems to work out pretty well because here we are. Right? Here we are, folks. But someday we're going to get a good story from these people, someday. And it's not all of them. Look, you have some of the fine people, some of really finest people I know. I know reporters, journalists, others, they're fine people. But some are not honest, and we have to just go around them. We just have to go around them, and we have gone around them like nobody in history has ever gone around them.
Fighting the deep state. I'm fighting the swamp. And I said I was doing it, and I'm exposing the swamp. I think if it keeps going the way I'm going, and Ratcliffe is fantastic, if it keeps going the way it's going, I have a chance to break the deep state. It's a vicious group of people. It's very bad for our country, and that's never happened before. You happen to be a victim of the deep state, I hate to tell you, whether you know it or not, but they've treated you horribly over the years, and so have they treated many other people. They never thought I was going to win, and then I won. And then they tried to get me out. That was the insurance policy. She's going to win, but just in case she doesn't win, we have an insurance policy. And now I beat them on the insurance policy. And now they're being exposed. Comey is a dirty cop. McCabe, bad guy. These are all bad guys. Lisa Page and Strzok, these are the two lovers, right? And they used public servers. They put it out public because they didn't want anybody to see, like spouses, etc., to see that they were having an affair. And because they did that, they got caught. Tremendous things have happened. They forged documents. We caught them. They have people that have forged documents. I would like to see it move much faster, I'll be honest with you. To me, I don't need any more information. I know. And I purposely stayed out of it. Other than I appoint people, I purposely stayed out of it. But I'll tell you what they've done, if this were President Obama, if this were a Democrat instead of a Republican, people would have been in jail for 2 years. Many people would have been in jail for 2 years already with a 50-year term. Okay, 50 years. But we caught them. Now, hopefully Bill Barr is going to do something about it. And you know what? Other things are going to come out, too. And a lot of other things are going to come out. But you don't even need other things. What they've done is so corrupt. They've tried to take down a duly elected president of the United States. Happens to be, in this case, me. But we can never allow it to happen again.
I want the American people to have enough ammunition of the truth that they are the ones that enact the accountability in Washington, D.C. That is how you see a sea change. I know the people that, guys like me, may take self-fulfillment in seeing that guy or that gal go to prison for breaking the law. But that is not going to fix Washington, D.C.
You don't think so?
Not alone.
You don't think that's an important piece of the puzzle here, is to hold these people accountable, prosecute them, imprison them, maybe more?
It's an
example, and as an example to everybody that's coming after them, if you do this, we're coming for you, and this is what's going to happen.
I agree in full that it's a big piece of it. But it won't fix the next man up behind them unless you can combine that piece with educating America that this is going on writ large. Because you're not going to get everybody, right? But if you get enough Americans in there to get Congress to do what they should be doing, like prosecuting Merrick Garland for breaking a congressional subpoena and violating the law, he can send Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro to prison for violating a congressional subpoena, but he can do it on his own, right? What I want is for people to get Congress to execute the authority they have on instances like this and have him held accountable there. And then I want the DOJ and FBI to be run by the Constitution. I want the intel communities to focus on our overseas threats and our border. I want all of these people that join the ranks of government to respond to the needs of the American people. It might sound pie in the sky, but if you want to fix it. I give you 50 things to do in here, but if the American people aren't behind you, then you won't have the accountability you really want. You need a 24/7 declassification office, whatever you want to call it. Transparency, truth, whatever, I don't care. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool, this is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system. Remember the Lovebirds text from, this is a beauty, the Lovebirds text from FBI, DOJ land, Russiagate, Strzok and Page were texting each other. They were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI. And they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy to stop Trump. Then we finally find those text messages. You know what the FBI and DOJ do for like a year? Redact them to congressional investigators and congressional men and women running the oversight of their agency. That's just one example. But it gets even better. Here's the deep state full circle. Just last week, do you know what Strzok and Page received from the Department of Justice?
What?
A $1.5 million payout to settle a lawsuit that Strzok and Page brought for the improper disclosure of their personal text messages on FBI phones. And the DOJ just rewarded them. They broke the law. They broke the chain of command. They broke every regulation there is in the FBI. They weaponized the system of justice against a political target they hated. We found those text messages, and we got them declassified finally in full when I became Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And the world has now seen them, and they can read them. And that's the best form of transparency. That's why I want this 24/7 declassification office. Don't have me regurgitate it to you. Read it. Get the documents, get the files, get the memos. But the deep state came full circle and gave these guys a payday for rigging a presidential election and breaking the law. So now you know what happens. That's step one. Step two, get America the truth. And that's what that office would be for.
Mr. President, what's your secret weapon?
So what's your reaction to the new Watchdog report detailing how Trump's DOJ was able to get your phone records and the phone records of your colleagues?
So we're going to head over to...
What's your reaction to the Watchdog report detailing how Trump's DOJ got your phone records?
In Russell 361.
Do you think Trump should pardon January 6ers?
And so for our next meeting,
do you
they're going
agree
to be a
that
little
Trump
bit late, but...
should investigate members of the House Select Committee investigating January 6th?
There's a DOJ, sorry?
Is there a new report?
Oh, there is. It's coming out later today.
Do you agree Congress people should go to jail for investigating January 6th?
The team's going to review it and send me some details for you. and
Mr. Patel, do you have any reaction to Trump's DOJ getting your phone records and other
Reaction to Ray's presentation?
We look forward to a very smooth transition at the FBI, and I'll be ready to go on day.
For every old blackboard, there are now hundreds of new electronic computers. The prospect of domination of the nation's scholars by federal employment, project allocations, and the power of money is ever present and is gravely to be regarded. Yet in holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
So, like a lot of people, we always thought that Twitter was a social media site. Then why were all these intel agents working for Twitter? A lot of them. Could it be that Twitter was actually a propaganda tool and an intelligence gathering operation for different governments? Totally possible. More on that next.
In the First Amendment. What they want is to keep their fucking job and keep power, and also not get in trouble for some of the shit they did that was maybe illegal, which we wouldn't even known about if Elon didn't buy Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the Elon buying Twitter was like that.
It's a game changer.
The game changer.
The fork in the road for civilization.
Yep. Yeah, it's wild to think, isn't
Mark
it?
Andreessen has said there's two forks in the road. There's one, Elon buys Twitter, and two, Trump turns his head and doesn't get shot. Those are the two.
Yeah.
If those two things don't happen, who fucking knows where we are?
I don't disagree. And you look at those both scenarios are both like 1 in a million. Like, how would Trump turns his head? Like, that's wild.
Right.
But then, like, how would a guy like Elon exist, first of all, in our lifetime?
Right. What are the odds?
What are the odds, right? That has the vehicle of Twitter or and all the things line up.
Not just has the vehicle, has so much fuck you money that he's willing to blow $44 billion on something that's worth $200 billion, maybe.
Right.
So, or rather $20 billion, maybe. Right. So one of the things that, like, there's this narrative, like, he's such a bad businessman, Twitter is worth $20 billion less than when he purchased it. No. It was never worth that much. He overpaid for it.
Right.
He overpaid for it on purpose. Yeah.
Knowingly.
Yeah, knowingly. He just wanted to take control of this fucking thing that has always been so important to us, which is the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
Interesting to see the crossover between the Epstein client list and Kamala's puppet masters. I bet there's a lot of names that appear in both lists.
And what we have done during this period is we've revealed how corrupt this group of people is, how bad their policies are, how badly they work. And, you know, in a certain way, I was thinking that if it were done the more traditional way, like if they didn't rig it and we went 4 and 4, we would have never been able to fix the country, because what they've shown during these past 4 years is how bad their policies are and how they don't work. So we'll be able to do, I think, actually a much better job, and we'll be able to do things that we probably wouldn't have really been able to do, and people will say we're glad. We have to stop crime in our cities, as an example. We can't let this continue.
I think what America needed to see was a piece of the Great Reset so they could be reawoken. Because the mainstream media keeps hammering it down with fake news saying, oh, everything's so much better now that Trump's out of office. The gas thing is the Saudis' fault. The opioid border crisis is Putin's fault. And China kicking our butt overseas and everywhere else is Trump's fault. And what I think you see is that America's like, wait a second, maybe you could blame one of those two things. And I'm talking about middle America, you know, that 20% of the middle voter base that sort of goes either way because they actually want to get educated. And now they're starting to see, thanks to great shows like yours and your tour, that it is a reawakening that they have to be a part of if they don't want to reset.
The only good thing about what happened with this 4-year disaster is that the people will understand when we fix our country. They'll be much more understanding than they would have been if we just went straight ahead and did it. Because this country has never been laughed at like a bunch of dopes. It's never been laughed at like it is right now. If with a loyal and joyful heart, an optimistic spirit, and a supreme confidence that for our country and for our children, the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come.
Oh my God, no, that's not gonna work. Louder.
The best is yet to come.
Stand by. The best is yet to come.
Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clearer. The past is gone, it went by like dust to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got the dues in life to pay. Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know everybody says you got to lose to know how to win. Half my life's in books, written pages, live and learn from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All the things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, and sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow, the good
has the American people hold in their hearts deep and devoted love of country, then there is nothing that this nation cannot achieve. The best is yet to come.
Out of the tree of life, I just picked me a plum. You came along and everything started into hum. Still, it's a real good bet, the best is yet to come. Best is yet to come, and babe, won't that be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the warm-up's underway. Wait till our lips have met. And wait till you see that sunshine day. You ain't seen nothing yet. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? Best is yet to come, come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine. I'm gonna teach you to fly. We've only tasted the wine. We're gonna drain the cup dry. Wait till your charms are ripe for these arms to surround. You think you've flown before, but baby, you ain't left the ground. Wait till you're locked in my embrace.